It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And today we're going to be talking about God's divine plan and our imagination. And you're going to have to imagine what I look like today, because I'm not going to be on camera. So anyway, let me bring on Michelle Marie Angel, and we're going to talk about our imagination and God's divine plan. So let me bring her on. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Gail. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy. This Soul Talk Saturdays, here we go. I forgot to mention that in the intro, because I think that's kind of important, because it's kind of fun, because we do it all this Saturday now. We are rather devoted to soul spirit type talk. So I hope people enjoy it, and the eyes to be uplifting and perceiving a positive future in spite of all the things that seem to be crashing down around us. But that's all good in so many ways.
It's all good because it makes us who we are today, and we're getting better, we're getting stronger, we're getting more free, and we're creating our own reality. We're stepping into our own divine selves, and we're actually becoming much better as a result of all this growth that we're going through due to having to overcome challenges individually and collectively.
Boy, understatement, individually and collectively. People have so much going on in their lives right now. It's really amazing. Oh, I don't know what happened. I accidentally hit my mouse. Funny. Sorry about that. But anyway, people are going through a lot. And that's why I think it's so important to bring whatever uplifting messages we can, because we know there's plenty of negative stuff out there that's happening. But that negative stuff is actually good for the long run. And so we always have to remember that. We have to collapse the old before we can build the new. And you want to be better, not bitter. So
hey, I like that. Better, not bitter.
Yeah, I got that from Dr. Robert Oyanki. He always comes up with these great little lines. But anyway, I just heard a talk from him recently. Got a new book out, Truth, and I don't remember the rest of it. But anyway, I'm sure it's great, and I hope to talk to him at some point in time. So anyway, moving right along, we were going to talk about one of the chapters. I don't know if it's a whole chapter. I guess it's a
poem.
It's a poem within a chapter called Genius Rising. And when I first looked at that, I went, I wonder what she means by that, until I read the poem. And if you would like to read the poem, or I'll read the poem, either way, we'll read it all the way through, but then we're going to discuss it as we go along, right?
Okay. And why I picked this poem is because we are using our imagination and our intention and our vision to tune in to our divine self within and bring about a new earth and heaven on earth. And so I believe that these difficulties, the challenges that we're facing, are catalysts to go into the deeper part of ourselves and bring out our gifts and our inner intelligence and stuff like that. And for us to learn how to wield the light that we are and the light of consciousness, particularly using our imagination, because images is how we begin to create the new world and heaven on earth. And that's part of God's divine plan. So I'm going to read this poem, and then we can talk about the different topics that it brings up all in one poem. Okay.
Okay, and I think we should know that you wrote this poem when?
I wrote this poem over 10 years ago.
That's why I just wanted to mention that because it's very timely at this time. So you were
know,
way ahead of your time.
a lot of the things that I've written, I will even go back and read now, and it has all new meaning. Well, it came from my intuition. It was like a download, and it totally made sense. I felt it as universal truth, and I wrote it down. But now it's got even more meaning. It's even more relevant. It's even more timely. You know,
those are your guides, your spirits, your angels, guiding you and telling you. Because sometimes I will find myself, like I get something, I might even purchase something, and then later I look, why the heck did I get this? You know, and then I put it away or whatever. And then all of a sudden I have an extreme use for it. And I'm going, oh my goodness, I was so glad I had this, you know, that kind of thing. So,
exactly.
Anyway, okay, go ahead and read Genius Rising.
Okay. And I do want to preface it by saying everybody's a genius, and we are letting our genius out of the bottle, so to speak, right now during these times. And I used to tell my students that at school. You're a genius. Everybody's a genius. We just have to tap into it. So here we go. Genius Rising. Pressured from financial shift, changes caused from inner rift. Like the sand that inspires a pearl, genius is rising to create a new world. Calm, relaxing, willing to surrender, ancient wisdom we remember. Timelines wobble and open to choice. New destinies appear. We now rejoice. In truth and integrity, our way is clear. Empowered to create, we have no fear. Bubbling with love, ourself we know. Knowing our purpose, we get on with the show. Deceivers, manipulators, sick with greed, they've lost their power, and we are freed. Captured attention and to beliefs we were sworn, awakened to truth, our hearts are reborn. Effervescent light plays in our imagination. Attuned to wholeness, we're one with creation. Creator, our source, in deep communion, our genius keeps rising in heartfelt union. Unified in our field of intelligence, happily receiving fruits of our vigilance. The end is near, the beginning has begun. Through hearts united, love has won.
Well, I like the ending, that's for sure. The whole thing is very applicable, though, as I think we should go through it again and just talk about and how it relates to today.
Yeah, because there's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of pieces and parts. I mean, if we just start at the in the beginning about the financial rift, I mean, look at what we're going through right now today. We are going through the
devaluation of the dollar,
revaluation, the global currency reset. We're going through a whole new energy system, down with fiat money, down with the central bankers, and then up with the quantum financial system, and up with gold-backed and asset-backed currencies. This is what we're looking at. We've been learning about it. I mean, have you seen, quite a lot of information coming out about this stuff?
Oh, endless. And then we have the BRICS nations, and everybody are banding together to stop using the dollar altogether. Now, Americans might see that as a slight on them, but actually they shouldn't, because what's being done with the fiat dollar and what has been done in the past are something we have to be accountable for. And the reason it's coming to an end is because it is not a good thing, and it was based on our slavery. Our birth certificates, as we were treated like chattel, and they just printed it at will and spent it however they wanted.
I was just going to say that. Yeah,
look who printed it. Yeah,
look who printed it, and look what happened to Lincoln and to JFK when they decided to go by the Constitution and have us print our own money. The government, the treasury, print the money. So no, the central bankers didn't like that. You know, they wanted to print the money and be in charge and pretend that the Federal Reserve and pretend that the IRS was government when they're private corporations. And that's what we're waking up to. That's the beauty of
I'm sure you knew that a long time ago, as did I, but so many people didn't believe it. You know, they thought you were a conspiracy theorist if you talk about things like that. And they're finding out today it was true. So many things were based in, so many things they called conspiracy theories were based in truth.
Well, and that's what it was. That whole term was such a psyop to dismiss information offhand, call people names and discredit them, because they had to marry the word theory to conspiracy. Now, conspiracy is a plan. Theory means it hasn't happened, and it's just you're dreaming it up in your mind, and it makes you sound like a ridiculous fool. When drop the word theory. If you look at a conspiracy researcher or a truth researcher or someone that gets looks at irrefutable facts like written plans and so forth like that, and a lot of people have awakened to all this information coming out that is just right there in writing, codified, you know, and, you know, we see the truth. We see it. It's not an opinion. It's not a theory. It is what it is, actually. And so that's the awakening, and slaves no more.
Exactly. Slaves no more. And it takes a little bit of a process to get there, but I feel like it is happening, and it's moving along even faster now. So that's,
and you know, it just made me think of something. You know, there are people, you know, we learn as we go and everything. So, you know, the information is out there about how they you know, used our social security numbers and usurped our identity at birth, traded us on the stock market, made all this money on us, using admiralty law and their shenanigans, agendas, their trickery, their deceit to make money on us. And now people are learning about those systems and not participating. And more people are withdrawing from paying corporations.
and I hope people are going to withdraw from paying income tax right now, or paying their tax thing on April. What is it today? Isn't that today, April 15th?
Today is the day. I know.
No. If you pay your taxes, you're paying for child trafficking. You're paying for human trafficking. You're paying for some god-awful things that you don't even realize that they're using your money for, and you're responsible for it. Just like all the wars that they got us in, and they lied to us about them. And we as Americans thought we were doing the right thing, but we really weren't.
I wish that I had my book. I didn't think of it ahead of time. But in one of my stories for Awakened Awareness, I wrote a book called Access for Taxes. And it started out by saying the Boston Tea Party was just a dress rehearsal. Our current plan will cause a role reversal. All those who thought they were on top will flip out as they see their power drop. And it goes on. And I wrote that book in 2002. And it was the last time I ever submitted taxes to the corporation of the IRS, the Rockefellers, banksters, to send my money to England, or you know what I mean.
That's what, yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. People don't realize that money didn't go into the American taxes. That went to England.
That's part of the trickery and the deception.
Yes.
People think it's government. People think it's paying for the services that, you know, we get and everything. No. Let's pay for war. There's a lot of money laundering. There's so much spending that is not for the people. And then when it is allocated for the people, it gets stolen and money laundered. That's why we have so many homeless people right now. That's why we have so many people without services right now. You know, people say, "Oh, we're gonna collect money for this project and that project," but does it go to the project?
No.
And the same thing with some of these so-called philanthropic groups,
Charities, yeah. What a
like the
joke.
Red Cross, and
Mhm.
they say that they're going to get all this money and give it to people time after time after time. It doesn't go, the majority does not go to the money they collected for. And it's been happening for so long that I told my mom about it, and she actually knew about that because way before I knew anything about this, she said there was they collected money and it had something to do with not Legionnaire's disease, but the tuberculosis. And it didn't go to the people. So, people have been aware, through the years here and there, but not overall. And the thing is, they play on people's compassion. We have good hearts.
Our
We
emotions, yes. Yes, they do. They do that all the time. And the fact we are, since we are truly innately heart-based, it's hard. It might not look like it sometimes, but you have to ask yourself when you see that, is that a real human? Is that an NPC? I mean, I don't have to go there, but the fact is,
well, the thing is, they have these crisis situations and weather situations, even if they're man-made or weather modification or weather warfare. They create these crises, and then they put these poor people up on the TV screen and say, send your money to them. I'll never forget when I saw Bush, Obama, and Clinton get on and with their cheesy grins saying, send money to Haiti. Man, I just felt that.
Gosh,
I thought that money is not going to Haiti. And the reports came back. It never did. It did not. They were just livid. And the Haitians spoke to President Trump. I remember seeing a video about that. Yeah. And they just, they busted that whole situation wide open with the truth, actually.
Yes, that's just terrible. So there's a lot happening in terms of changes caused from inner rift when it comes to the financial system. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. And we have to ride this out because it's going to be a little bit bumpy, I'm sure, as the dollar is totally loses value. And as they switch over to the other system, I don't know if there's going to be any bugs. They say that they've tested it, but it could be very close and it could happen very quickly. And that's kind of what I'm feeling. But
yeah. And I think people are diversifying. They're getting silver or gold or, just trying to diversify, maybe even getting seeds and land or whatever. They're following their intuition and they're, hedging against, the total complete reliance on the old currency. If you need to have, 2 or 3 or 4, not all your eggs in one basket, get a few baskets going on.
And then they have that, and the bad guys have the what are the call letters? CBD.
CBDC, yeah, digital currencies, which is Fed now. Totally, do not get it. It is not good. Avoid any banks that use that system. It's a trick. It's a trap, and they want to control your money, your energy, and your life.
And that's exactly because once they get you digitized too, I was just reading, and I don't know if I should bring this up at this point, but they were talking about using, well, I don't want to go there because I'm going to drop the subject because this will get us banned. So I'm not going to talk about that because we're on YouTube as well. So moving right along.
I think the audience that is watching this right now knows what we're talking about, because we're talking to people who are educated and intelligent. They're watching this, they're looking for truth, they're putting, all the puzzle pieces together, they're on target just like we are and learning more all the time just like we are. So, this information is out there. And so, everybody is getting it on, many different platforms. So a lot of people, they'll get more information on like Rumble or Odyssey or BitChute or, some of those platforms, and sometimes information providers will say, you know, I'm going to talk about this over on another platform. You know, sometimes they'll start
Yes.
something on YouTube, end it somewhere else, or put a link to another video.
Yes,
there.
I've done that myself in the past when they started with the censorship really bad. Usually we don't talk about things that they would censor, usually.
Yeah.
Not that they couldn't, but they usually don't. And so otherwise, if you're going to talk about current events, if you're going to talk about something that isn't in line with the official narrative, you have to be very careful what you say, which is a direct violation of our First Amendment freedom of speech. And I couldn't agree with Trump more. If we don't have freedom of speech, we will not and do not have a free country. Why do you think it was listed as #1?
Yeah, we need to protect that, and we do need to talk about things openly on other platforms and make sure things do come out, you know, and they are coming out. So you can't be totally on YouTube and get all the information. People know that by now because there's so much censorship.
Yes.
So, you know, go to different platforms, just like you don't put all your money in one basket, you know, the old system, then you don't want to get all your information from one source. You want to go to different sources. That's a good way to vet information. Go to different sources and not just one or two or whatever, and also different platforms as well.
Yeah, be sure to go to the uncensored platforms, because that's where you're going to get more truth. Not that you can't get disinformation, because that's available all over the place, because we have both sides putting out, because we are in a war right now. We really
It's
are.
an information war.
Yes.
But the war actually is in our favor, because if we're developing discernment, if we're going within and attuning with our own soul, spirit, you know, that's the Holy Spirit of truth. We attune to the truth in our soul and in our heart, then that's where the discernment gets stronger, and we have intuition, and we know when something doesn't feel right and doesn't fit with all the truth that we're researching. So it all works together to increase our intelligence. Our intelligence is increasing. That's what's raising our vibration. That's what's, you know, bringing us to our new powers of creation and freedom. So nothing can stop what is coming means exactly that. We are on our way to freedom because of our own light within, and nothing can stop that.
And truth is the biggest part of that, because truth and love are very much the same in so many ways.
It is. It's that spirit. Spirit is truth, love. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
So I'll bring up the next couple lines.
Okay.
It says, like the sand that inspires a pearl, genius is rising to create a new world. And so the sand, or the things that bother us, that like are wrong and shouldn't be that way, that's inspiring all of us to grow and to search for the pearls of wisdom within and without. You know, you might be searching scriptures and deep things that help you go deeper into your soul, and, you know, discover that higher intelligence, you know, where you can ask the higher intelligence, the source, God, whatever you know, we like to call it different things, right?
Right. Well, I always started with source instead of God. And the only reason I did that was because some people will go, well, which God are you talking about? Because there are more than one. Yeah. So I just say source, and that's the creator of all that is. So that covers.
Well, as long as we know what each other is talking about,
Yeah.
We can even, it doesn't matter what term we use, you know, but I actually use several different terms so that, you know, people can relate to whichever one they feel most related to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're not here to offend anyone in that regard.
No.
In terms of how they or who they choose to address as their supreme being.
I do that in all my books too. I make the language universal and use different terms. Mm-hmm. I don't just stick with one, you know, type of vocabulary that only reaches, you know, one type of belief system or whatever. Yeah. So, but the pearl is within each of our consciousness. And so the pearl is like the genius that's being inspired to come out. It's that little nugget. It's that, that pure part of our heart and soul that is connected to all that is. And all that is infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence is the word for that love truth combination. It's that high vibration. It's that light of high vibration, the very highest vibration. And that's that divine spark within us. That's the genius. That's the higher intelligence. That's where we go. The spark of our soul is united in spirit. It's like the fractal of a hologram. And that inner light, that true spirit light within, is truth. And we can contact that and not be deceived. And that is the path that we're on as humanity. Most people have hit that path of awakening to that truth within, which is why I said in my book, this is a great revival. It's sending people back to the truth within, where you're your own fact checker. There's no fact checker out there. The fact checker is in here.
That's perfect.
Each and every one of us.
That is so very true. And speaking of light is information, and truth information. When you look at us at the very smallest, teeniest cellular level,
we are light. Consciousness is light, and everything that you see is made of light. So when we look at in the outer world, we see, form and physicality, but it all comes from the inner light of consciousness. Consciousness creates reality, and it's not the other way around. And that's one thing that we were tricked into thinking, is that our thoughts and feelings have to come with what we observe on the outside. We are reversing that trend and finding out that our genius, our imagination, creates our reality.
Because we are the creators.
We are creators, and imagination is our tool. We need to focus on intentions, create images in our imagination, put concentrated attention on those visions, those images, and we're creating our new world. That's why people are withdrawing from television and television news and stuff like that, because, they manipulate emotions, they give you visions, they bring you to the lower vibration, and now people are withdrawing and saying, I'm a free soul. I'm going to have a high vibration. I'm going to create the vision that comes from my soul, which is part of my soul's blueprint and part of God's great divine plan. And then we get the universal vision, which is another thing I write about in It Is a New World After All, this book here. The universal vision is where we each get our own piece and part that we are playing in the divine plan.
And I just have to say, while we're on the subject of the books that you have created, which are in the description, I would highly recommend that you buy Michelle's book, because, and this isn't a sales pitch for anybody, you will appreciate what is written in those books, especially at this time in our history. So
thank you. Partly what they do is they bring out a way to deprogram,
yes,
and eradicate and dissolve all of that programming that we've been getting all of our lives through TV, education, institutions, and so forth. We dissolve that programming and come into our power. So we're basically, getting rid of disempowerment, and we're getting into empowerment. We're replacing slavery with freedom, and it starts with freedom of mind. That's why we need to use our imagination consciously with intent and know that we're creating as we imagine things.
And the other thing that I would like to bring out here is there are many people that say, let go and let God. And I understand that saying. However, that doesn't mean you are a co-creator with the divine. So that means the creator works through you. And I think that's important for people to realize that that's what you have the divine spark for, because those are the experiences we send back to the creator, and certainly are inspired by the creator, the source of all that is, to experience and to bring things back to the light, because we've been out of the light for a while.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Everything comes from source, including our original ideas and intentions. And so in the process of creation, we're actually using the science, that we're using the physics of consciousness. When you use the physics of consciousness to create reality, then you draw upon source within, and you think about your heart's desires. And desires, when you break apart that word, is de, which means of, and sire, which means father. Desires, it comes from the Father. It comes from God. God is in our heart. And so we delve into that. We read the divine plan and our soul's blueprint, step 1. Step 2, then we write a clear intention and use our imagination. And we are participating in the creation at that time. We get the original desire from God, because it's from God. All of our ideas, intention, everything comes from God. That's source. And then we get clear on it. We create an image, and then we use our powers of creation. And then the third step is to let go, drop it in your heart, give it back to God and the universe, and then you enter the allowing phase, the receptive phase. You follow the signs of synchronicity, and then you are spirit led and led and guided to the answer or the solution or the creation. It's quite a process. It takes a little bit of mastery, and that's what we're doing right now. We're learning all the pieces and parts. And I know that some people use the law of attraction, and they might just think of, well, anything you think up, you can create, which you can. But if you don't get it from God, the desire of the heart, your true heart's desires, getting it from God, you're in tune with God's will. You're in tune with God's plan. You're in harmony with the universe and all that is, including all of our brothers and sisters. And we do what we want. We do want to create in harmony for the good of one and all. And so that's why I believe that our first thing is to go within and get really clear on our desires that are truly from our heart, that are from our soul, from spirit. And so that's where the true heart's desires come from. And then we can use our imagination. We can expand upon it. We can think of the details. We can feel like we're in the scene.
And the beauty of all this too, of all this negative stuff that's coming to light, that we see and now we know. And when we put our creative imagination out there to find a new way to create the new earth, we have that experience of, whoa, we're not going to let that happen again.
Exactly. Yeah.
That'll be the day I'm just going to trust with blinders on, and because that's what got us in the situation that we're in.
So like the old guard that's dissolving and the old reality that's dissolving, when we see things that are out of integrity, that are harming people, that are deceiving and enslaving people, we can say in our heart and soul, as free will beings, no, I don't accept it. I don't comply. I don't buy into it. Here's my vision, and I'm replacing it with this. And we're going to a higher vision, to God's divine plan, to the immaculate concept of pristine patterns of perfection. I want to see God's vision. I want to see the perfect thing that's good for one and all. And we can go there. Nothing is impossible. We just have to realize our powers, and that we don't have to buy into those things anymore. Like if we watch something on TV or even video, and it says, oh, this plan or agenda is going to come true. No, it's not. Just because they plan it and have an agenda doesn't mean we have to buy into it and that it's going to come true. We can say, no, I don't buy that. I'm not going to comply. I have a new vision for myself and my brothers and sisters and our world. And then imagine that.
Yep. And I see a bright future as a result of all this. Why don't we go to the next little section? And
Sure. Perfect. Okay. The next section starts with calm, relaxing, willing to surrender, ancient wisdom we remember. And that's going into the, we've had past lives, we have wisdom in our DNA. As our DNA gets activated, as we go within, we go deeper within ourselves. We connect with our ancestors and ancestral wisdom.
we open those channels, basically,
We
right?
open the channels of communication to other dimensions and our guides and angels and masters and, to Father God himself, source, and the infinite intelligence of the universe. And so we have that source. And it's not just the source of energy and ideas, it's the whole source of life. That's where life comes from.
Yes, and ancient wisdom, I was contemplating that for a while, and what came to me when I was thinking of that is there's ancient wisdom that has been kept from us. Free energy is a great example. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably many of the cures, 6,000 cures that they spoke of, is also wisdom that has also been kept from us.
Well, think of all the natural and plant medicines that were very prevalent, before the Rockefellers came over and discredited all the people that were curing things with natural herbs and
frequencies, you name it. Yeah. The right frequencies, the
that was all discredited.
Homeopaths, and naturopaths, all of them were discredited and sent to the back room. And Big Pharma and from the Rockefellers and those guys just came to the forefront. And we bought into it without question. That's part of the problem.
Well, it's generational, because when I was born, my parents had already bought into it.
Oh, sure.
And, my parents took me to the doctor, and that's the way it was from the moment I was born, actually. And I actually grew out of it because a relative of mine got into meditation and vitamins and health food and, and was reading books about the truth. And so I exited, that program, because of a very wise relative of mine, my grandma, as a matter of fact. And so, I was led out by somebody who was wise, ancient wisdom. And, a lot of us are doing that, waking up and going back to, what actually works and what's natural and getting results and success, which is why there's censorship, because they don't want that success. They don't want that knowledge getting back out there. They suppressed it for a reason.
Yes, because they can't make money off of it when that gets out. And that's a big part of their stranglehold on people is the financial system, and that's changing, and that's going to be
that's changing
so much better.
Okay, changing. I'll read the next few.
Okay.
Timelines wobble and open to choice. New destinies appear. We now rejoice. So their thing is crumbling. We're making new timelines. We're making new timelines, and we have a new destiny now. We are not destined to be on their agenda or their timeline or their frequency or their vibration.
And our choices is what determines our timeline. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So the next one, in truth and integrity, our way is clear. Empowered to create, we have no fear. So getting out of fear puts us in a victorious position right from the get-go, because the fear is how they were, manipulating our minds. Be afraid of this man-made, psyop disease, and then, take these precautions. Shut your mouth with a mask. Take this poison injection. It will be good for you. And you can have a donut if you get one. You can
they
win the lottery.
They were even paying money to people too. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The incentives
Yeah.
provided, and not only were incentives provided on an individual basis, but well, that goes far when it comes to some of the doctors and so on, but also from an institutional standpoint, just like when you guys worked on the NIH grant kind of thing. So that just having that knowledge that is coming up on some real light warriors out there that are saying, hey, you got to see this. And
Oh yeah, and people whose very livelihood were threatened, that they had to do it or quit their job. A lot of people did quit their jobs, and some people didn't quit their jobs. They had adverse reactions and they were sorry, and that's an unfortunate wake-up call. But I believe there's a solution for everything.
I do
and
too. I do too.
I really do. Yeah. There's, all the innovative technologies that are coming back, all the suppressed technologies and
exactly.
And so forth. They're
med beds may be able to reverse that. There's also, I know I'm going to be having a show with Dr. Anna from Washington, and she will talk about EDTA. And that has been wonderful for removing the major problem, the stuff that starts with a G. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and there's a way to detox from this. There always will be. I mean, it doesn't sound like, and that the mRNA was way overrated. I think the real problem related to something else, but we won't go there.
Well, that it was rated as positive at all was an undersight. Yeah. Okay. And so I'll go on to the next one. The next one is bubbling with love, ourself we know, knowing our purpose, we get on with the show. And that's the most exciting thing. People are like stepping up and stepping out and doing what they can. They're revealing the truth. They're looking deeper. They are, spreading information. They're finding information, spreading information, talking to people, and everybody has their own thing, whatever that is.
And they're questioning more. They're questioning more. And that's what we needed to do right from the very beginning, is not only questioning ourselves within, but also questioning what's going on outside that isn't right. And we can sense these things and make a change.
We have a glorious mind. Thank you, Thomas.
What, somebody chat? Oh, I missed that. Let me put the chat.
Yeah. Okay. So, we are raising our vibration to love. We know what our purpose is, to stop the old stuff and start the new stuff. And I mean, I'm excited because I know lots of people that are on this track and playing their part, and they're stepping up to the plate. And just like it says at the beginning of this book we're reading from, stars do come out at night. Stars do come out at night. And so all these people are coming and they're knowing their purpose and they're coming out to help people. And, I love it. I love it. I feel really good and optimistic because I'm seeing many, many people, that are helping others and sharing their gifts, like you doing this show and bringing information to people. This is a huge service to humanity that you're doing.
Well, thank you, Michelle. And you're the same in terms of the books that you have put out there for people to read and to review what we're talking about, so it sinks in, because we have to unlearn everything that we learned before, because there were so many lies entrenched in it, that now changing our whole perspective will change our entire reality as more and more people wake up and to make the changes necessary.
Yep. And you can better believe that all the people watching the show are stars that are coming out and that are getting in tune and activated and are sharing their gifts with the world. We're all in a process. And so if anybody's watching the show, they're in the process, they're a star, they're either already shining or going to shine brighter, or giving their gifts to the world and, sharing information. Everybody watching the show is in this resonant field. We're in a resonant field of, of consciousness. And so, Hello, family.
Yes. And when we resonate in consciousness, we feel each other's and know each other's heartfelt feelings. I don't know how to put it. When you open up to love, open up your heart and connect your heart and your mind. So that's where you're always coming from, rather than just the mental, which is what we've been focused on for so long. And I'm not knocking mental. Mental's important, but our monkey mind gets in our way because we need the quietness to be able to go within, to really, and to hear source speak to us.
The mind has its part, but it's not the highest. It's not the highest intelligence, because they even say, even biologically, the heart has more neurotransmitters than the brain. You know, it is a thinking organ. And plus, the heart is the portal to the soul. It's the portal to the Holy Spirit.
And its resonance is huge, much bigger than the brain.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Well, we're all growing up. We're all growing out. We're all, you know, yep. Mother source found within, Thomas says. Hallelujah. Yes, indeed. See, I'll tell you what, there's a star right there, a shining star, Thomas Lynch. There you go.
Thank you, Thomas. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's the next one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Deceivers, manipulators, sick with greed. They've lost their power, and now we are freed. And you know they're losing their power, right?
Oh yeah, they know it too, and they're in panic situation.
I think so too. Why are they losing their power? Because we're no longer deceived. And the whole of humanity is less and less and less deceived by the minute, you know, every day, every hour, every minute. There are less people deceived and less deception happening. And this is exposure time. It's yeah.
Good
I agree.
name. Yeah. You know, it's like they come out with something negative and boom, in no time, it's counteracted.
Yep. And what you said earlier was so right, you know, because you were like, it's all about the money. Yeah, they were sick with greed. Sick. Can harm people for money? Are you kidding me? That's sick.
A piece of paper that's worthless. I mean, literally it is. It was never backed by anything. So anyway.
Okay, here comes the next one. Captured attention into beliefs we were sworn. Awakened to truth. Our hearts are reborn. Our attention used to be captured. We used to go along with their agenda because we thought they had our best interests at heart. We went along thinking that they were providing service to humanity, governmental service, education service, you know, in the, you know, all the institutions, they were supposed to be of service, but were they really working on the benefit of humanity?
And you can look at every single one of those areas in our life, and there's deceivers in every one. There's deceivers in education. There's deceivers in religion. There's deceivers in government. There's deceivers. We're surrounded, but guess what? We're finding out.
Right.
And we're recognizing it, and we're going, hey, no more.
No more. Those old institutions are dissolving. Okay, we're awakened to truth and our hearts are reborn. Here we go again. Effervescent light plays in our imagination. Attuned to wholeness, we're one with creation. That's when we're unified with God and we're downloading the divine plan and God's blueprint for our lives. We're getting his, you know, or it's, whatever you want to call it, the vision of source, the infinite intelligence. We're downloading that vision, that immaculate conception from the Christ light within. Reflecting the Christ within is getting the immaculate conception and forming the reality, you know, from the divine plan. We're doing it.
Beautiful. Yes, we are. And people think nothing's happening. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening.
There's a lot.
And
We go to Heaven on Earth groups, and we're noticing, people gathering together, and so there's different groups around the country and around the world. And Thomas also mentioned staying open in unconditional love and loving acceptance. That's exactly right. That's how we're going to unify. They want us divided. We're not going to be divided, are we, Thomas? No way. So we're uniting in love, and we have that. He put it so perfectly: unconditional love and loving acceptance. Yeah, some people bought into that. Yes, we have compassion that they've been deceived. We need to leave the door open with unconditional love and be there to give them answers when they're ready to wake up. We are here to help, not to judge, not to divide, but to be here with unconditional love, loving acceptance, and do what we signed up for. I'm here to help. I'm here to provide information. I love you unconditionally. Now you're asking what's the next step? Yep, that's right. We are the spirit of truth.
Spirit of truth, yes. And what a wonderful spirit that is.
So we're one with creation. And what you said about being co-creators, that's what this is talking about here. So creator, our source, in deep communion. That's when we're unified with God. When we're in communion with spirit, with the Holy Spirit, with all that is. Yes. And our genius keeps rising in heartfelt union. We keep getting more and more downloads from that infinite intelligence. Download incoming from our heart and soul.
Yes, transmissions that just all of a sudden you have a knowing. And it's beautiful. That's why it's so important to go within to make that connection, because that's where it comes from.
It is.
Exactly. Now that's the real kind of communion.
That's the real kind of communion. And that's where you find out the real reality is in spirit, not in what's already been created. Spirit creates. So we need to go to the real reality is spirit, where creation originates from.
Absolutely.
So our genius keeps rising. Unified in our field of intelligence, happily receiving fruits of our diligence. And we do not get tired of winning. We are receiving fruits of our diligence. We are getting rewards. We are feeling stronger within. We are uniting. We have great friends that we resonate with. We are getting fruits from our diligence and keeping on with seeking the truth. Good things are coming from that.
Yes, they are. We definitely have sources of approval on that. I am very sure of that. Especially with all this, changing from dark to light. That's what it is, dark to light.
That's right. That's right. So on that, I'll read the last line of this. The end is near. The beginning has begun. Through hearts united, love has won. That's not only our vision, but that's what's happening right now. I think in the inner planes, in spirit, we've already won, and now it's playing out in reality. People are catching up. Everybody is getting united in love. The door is always open. The door of love is always open for people to receive the light of truth. And, the truth just keeps being spread, and we are creating our new world, and we are raising the vibration of the planet, and we are reaching, that, the precipice, and that, the over the amount needed to affect the collective consciousness, like the 100th monkey syndrome, where suddenly everybody knows the truth because so many know the truth, and we're in a collective field of consciousness.
Yes, that's a wonderful thing. And we all need to think about purifying our words and deeds and actions to bring us into the integrity of the divine. and to unite and commune with the divine. And that's what's happening. And when we go within, there's so much to be gained.
That is what's happening. And I was going to say, but we're also processing real feelings, real emotions. Like we can't deny our feelings or deny our emotions or say they're bad. We have to process that and get the information out. Like if we feel angry, then we need to not suppress that or deny that. We need to sit with that and process the energy and get the information out. And then, because like if we're angry, then there could be like something wrong. Like if somebody's harming our children, it makes us angry, then we need to process that information and say, now what action can I take to make it right? Because I'm not putting up with this crap. No one's going to harm our children and me sit around and do nothing. That's one thing that's inspiring a lot of people, don't you think?
Oh, I think so too. And to think about this too, what side you're on and what you did from a historical perspective is going to matter. So either you have the remembrance of sitting on the sidelines, not doing anything and letting everybody else do, or you have the option of getting involved, going within, finding your purpose, doing your thing, your part. We need everybody on board to make this shift. And all it is for everyone to start thinking in this way and paying attention to truth that's being put before them and consider it, and don't just automatically dismiss it because it created maybe cognitive dissonance or something of that nature. Be open-minded. You're being exposed to so many things that are not what you thought they were. Let me put it that way.
It really does take an open mind and an open heart, because you need to open your heart. We need to accept ourselves and our feelings and others. We need to accept facts. We need to distinguish between opinion and evidence and facts when we're looking at truth. We need to feel the truth within. That's, like I said before, that's our fact checker right there. You've got to go within and get attuned to absolute truth, because truth, real eternal truth is not relative, it's absolute. And that's actually a level of consciousness, and why we need to go within to reach the inner core of our being, because then we reach the eternal part of ourselves, the whole part of ourselves, where we know the absolute truth. So that attunement to truth within is very essential in this, evolutionary ascension process to higher consciousness.
And that's what it's all about. And I don't know if everyone realizes, but it's all about consciousness. And our reality was created by a consciousness, which was what you might say preformed for us by putting certain ideas, putting certain frequencies out there, putting things out there that were...
Think about the word television. They try to tell you what your vision is.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. Or else the other ones who would break on it apart. L-I-E, live vision. And so,
yeah, exactly. That too. Yeah. And we got a brother here talking to us. Brother, if I deny myself before healing, there is no healing. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's a lesson too. I mean, we're learning about ourselves, and we're developing ourselves by really accepting ourselves. And there's a lot of different terminology and names for that. But if we really open up to our true feelings, whether we've been hurt, whether we feel anger, and just accept all of our feelings. Some people call that shadow work, I think. Mm-hmm. But, because if we labeled something as negative, we could call that a shadow. But everything, if it's processed, then we get the information out, and it's just objective, not subjective. So you just change it from subjective to objective. You sit with the energy. The emotion goes away while the energy, the information comes out of the energy. And so there's no reason to deny our feelings. We can feel our feelings because all feelings are energy, and it carries information.
And they're valid,
So,
and it's what makes us unique beings because of our emotions.
That goes to Thomas. He's so sweet over there. Yeah, we need more people coming in. Get your friends over here, Thomas.
Yes, we need more people. Many people haven't found my channel since they took my other channel down. I do have these 2 new channels on YouTube. Hopefully they last, but I will just not even open the YouTube channels if I'm going to be talking about things that are censored. And I don't know what we do or need to do is people need to do. There's so many different ways to get involved, just like you did with your you've written your books, but you also took action with the local hospital. And that's one of the things that I'd like to emphasize people. There's probably very much something that you can do at the local level to help change things.
Well, I've sort of always been an activist. I have found groups, like I mentioned before, I got into people raising awareness about chemtrails, quite a few years ago. And then we raised awareness. I was in another group about smart meters, and we issued notices of liabilities and
I've done, yeah, I've done shows on those things because of that. And I remember when you brought up chemtrails, that was the first time it was the second time. I've been called a conspiracy theorist a number of times. So, but anyway, chemtrails was another one that gave me that label. But that's okay. It's the truth. Well, it was the truth.
Wear it as a badge of honor, and we know it's just a name calling thing to discredit information. But most people know that by now. I've had that, I've heard that so many times on so many videos. They talk about the genesis of that term, which came right after the JFK murder, and they just did it to discredit people starting way back then.
Yeah, and it's funny now when I see somebody called a conspiracy theorist, I want to read what they're saying or listen to it because most of them have been reality. So anyway,
yeah, I see through all the name calling. I mean, the name calling, I see it for what it is.
Exactly.
I see it for what it is, and I see the people who have been duped into adopting that terminology and not listening to information, because it has worked for some people.
Yes,
it has worked.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
very true. Well,
yeah.
I think we covered our poem and this book. I can't show it to you, but you can. Forever Free is where the poem.
Oh yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of excellent poems in here, and maybe we'll cover some more in the future. But for now, I can't thank you enough, Michelle. I enjoy our Saturday Soul Talk, and I hope others do as well.
Well, I just would like to put one reminder out there. If everybody would just take a moment each and every day and imagine the earth and humanity and all life on earth as being clean and pristine, and our environment all restored and back into all natural harmony, and all people being abundant and healthy and free and creative, and just being in communities with, much food, many resources, because it really, if you think about it, the money system was used to steal resources from different countries. They would get in and corrupt governments and put dictators in so they could steal their resources.
Yep.
But with our imagination and with God's divine plan, we can actually override any financial system with our imagination. We don't have to go through the money system, and in fact, in my success stories video, which I brought up before, it's on my YouTube channel and my Rumble channel, which is in the description box. But in that, I talked about manifesting a hot tub, and I did it with circumventing any need for money whatsoever. I acquired the hot tub and it didn't require any money. It was like a three-way trade. So miracles do happen just by using our imagination. You know, we don't have to even imagine getting the money first. We can imagine just, you know, manifesting that thing that we need, whether it's a home, whether it's a job, whether it's, you know, whatever it is our heart desires. It's good. God wants us to have it, and the whole universe will conspire to get us what we want. So if everybody will imagine your own heart's desires and the whole planet and everybody being connected to our Creator and creating peace, love, goodwill, and abundance, prosperity, truth, integrity, honesty, everything for all people, it will be. It will be. And I do claim that as universal truth as we are speaking right now. It is done.
So be it. And so it is. All right. Do you have?
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you very much, Michelle, and we will be back next week. Please take the time to look at the description and look at Michelle's books and consider purchasing one. We worked very hard to bring information out. She worked very hard on these books. I work very hard on my channel. I'm not paid for what I do. She's not paid for anything that she's done unless somebody purchases her book. So we need your help. We need your support. You can support the channel, and you can support Michelle through purchasing her books and watching her channel as well. So thank you, everyone. Please, like I said, do take a look at the products that are available, including not only the books, but also I pick out some very good products for you that will help with your health. So please take a look at them. They're really good. So,
and let's buy Gail a cup of coffee. She's got a coffee link.
Well, you got one too. Well, we could both use a cup of coffee and have a coffee clutch if we can.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
lots of love. God bless.
Lots of love with the little heart thing. And we'll see you all again next week. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Love you, Gail.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show